Entus and KT Rolster, and we'll see if Shy has got what it takes to give CJ the win over KT. They're going to ban out the VOD first.
This is Shy's first competitive game since the Kesper Cup final, which was 225 days ago in November 2015. Was not seen at all during spring season. It's the first competitive game in over 200 days. Really intriguing to see what Shy has to bring us.
Yeah, well, they're going to ban the Shen away.
This was a pick where in 2015 when Shy was definitely, felt like on his last legs as a competitive player where a lot of other laners were bossing him around. He still had some really impressive Shen games.
Yeah.
And that's a nice respect ban against him.
Very true. But, you know, you and I talked earlier on this show about, well, before the show I should say, about where the Jax was at. You know, obviously he's got his issues, but people have been talking, you know, maybe we're going to see the Jax come back, and if anybody's going to bring it in, it's going to be Shy.
I mean, Aurelia too. Shy was known for these Trinity Force top laners.
Yeah.
Funny how the meta rolls around and like, wait, we've got a guy. Expression on Longzhu was another player who was around in the same time, but at the same time was talked in the same breath as someone like Shy and Flame. And it's now on Shy in a meta that may suit him to make his big return.
Maybe. We will see. You gotta wonder if Cloud Templar is feeling like he wants to go down and jump in the booth too, man. Mad Life and Shy are there, Scores on the other side.
I mean, he was in the booth on April Fool's Day, but that was only his joke.
That's true, yeah.
This one's serious.
Yep. This time, it's serious.
Are you ready for Shy and Sky vs. Fly?
I'm ready. I don't think I'll die. There is Rise. Final ban after CJ takes Jhin away from KT. Probably a good idea. So what's the first pick going to be here? They could take the Aurelia.
Karma also available. Aurelia will be taken. If you follow KT's pick ban trends, they first pick or first rotation Aurelia whenever it's available. So if they don't take Aurelia, they're going to look for the skill matchup. And if they don't take Aurelia with Shen gone, I think it might be Jax time for Shy.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I think the Aurelia is probably the best way to go for this first pick. I mean, you've got Shy in there. Pick something that he's going to be comfortable with. It's been a while for this guy.
How awesome would it be in 2016 to see Renekton versus Aurelia? But this is definitely a scenario where we could see it. If we see a first pick Aurelia, someday second most played of all time next to Maokai is that Renekton. So a lot of interesting things that could come through. Trundle blind pick would be, of course, support or top lane. He'll take the Trundle first with a lot of power on the board. No!
Whoa!
Actually,
all right.
First pick Ashe.
Well, the Ashe worked very well. In game number 2 for Kramer.
Oh, someday. Hovering the Renekton.
He knows what's up. Because that's the thing, too. Shy could grab the Renekton as well if someday decides to take the Aurelia.
Well, in Soul's a champion that's been banned. The mid lane champion ball only Rise. And I guess Vladimir also have been taken off the board. Just so much that's not clear. We didn't expect CJ to win game 2. We couldn't have seen this roster change either. Aurelia has been the staple first rotation from KT, but now with Shy in the lineup, do they digress and leave last pick for someday?
What about Aurelia Karma here?
Be a very powerful draft, score on the Elise. They will go for the Aurelia.
All right, well, I like the Aurelia, but I got to say, Score, despite Elise, you know, having a pretty mammoth win rate for him, he just didn't seem to do a whole lot with it last game.
Most important thing for KT is to get Fly on Victor. Victor's not banned this game. They need to get wave clear to complement Aurelia's scaling. They got in a really tricky spot with the Rise being out-pressured by Cassiopeia in the mid lane. And honestly, Victor here would be a really nice takeaway pick because it would force Fly on another wave clear champion.
Well, do you maybe just take the Aurelian Soul then at that point?
I think that would probably be his response, but it's not Victor, right? Victor's so simple. Get to level 7, get 1,000 gold on a Hex core, clear the wave, be safe. So anything else has much more of a semblance of risk. Victor was a champion that Sky played quite a lot, again, when he was playing in Spring. And I think this is definitely the time to take it away.
Yeah, the Grave's a little bit of a surprise. Not a champion we see a whole lot in the jungle anymore, but, you know, with the Rek'Sai and the Nidalee out of the way and the Elise, I suppose you kind of go down to that. And the Trundle locked in, too, so we'll see who gets that.
Seeming like it'll be Shy. Trundle can definitely win that lane matchup against Aurelia, so it will be a flex pick for now. I'm very surprised to see them not take the Victor. They hovered it for so long that maybe they have an answer to Victor. Maybe they're willing to go for something risky like a Kassadin. in the last rotation.
I mean, by hovering in soul line, kind of does make you wonder if they're kind of saying, all right, we know you picked this. We've got something ready.
KT's intrigued enough to perhaps not pick their mid lane now. Of course, there's a chance that Fly could be playing the Karma in the mid lane, but Sivir Karma is a very powerful duo. One of the few laning matchups where Sivir can actually win lane pretty comfortably if the Karma gets a lot of poke off early in the lane.
I think the Karma Sivir is a pretty safe way to go here because, like you said, you could rotate down that down to support if you wanted to, and they will do it. So Karma Sivir, a lot of speed boost on that team.
So maybe we won't see one of those legacy champions from Shy. We all dream of the Renekton. We especially dream of the Jax, but doesn't look like they're going to go that way. I think it's still smart to take away the Victor, get Fly away from comfort as much as possible.
On CJ, if they lock in this All-Star for Mad Life, it's going to be really a CJ classic. Mad Life, of course, made a name for himself on that champion way back when, the Blitzcrank. It's going to be Twisted Fate and Bard. Whoa, okay. TF, and TF was banned by KT against Sky in game number 1.
Exactly, so they're going to move on to this Twisted Fate. It's clearly a comfort pick for Sky, especially in solo queue, but his results in competitive haven't been that outstanding. And now we're on to Fly, who always has these intriguing edge of meta picks.
Huh. The Zed might not be too bad.
Too much physical damage.
Varus, though, I mean, again, that's a lot of physical damage, but Varus does so much damage in general that you can get away with it.
There's a lane where Twisted Fate, if he's not ganked heavily, can kind of just weather the storm and look for those roams. Lissandra certainly would be a lot safer of a choice. It would also probably force out the cleanse, but Aurelion Sol has been banned against Fly this series.
Well, I think it's like you said. I mean, they do need wave clear. I feel like the Aurelion Sol gives them that. It's a pick he's been successful with, but they are going to go with the Lissandra after all.
I mean, Aurelion Sol's wave clear is a lot more melee ranged or just in a small AoE. Lissandra is the quintessential wave clear champion. It also forces Sky to take cleanse. Most likely, taking Ghost Flash against a Lissandra is super, super risky. We've seen people do it, but it can certainly be abused. And Lissandra, at least, one CC hits, the next 3 do, and you're dead. So we'll be forced into taking the cleanse. And Shy, on his competitive return 225 days later, will be playing the Trundle.
Yeah.
We've already seen this matchup once today. It's one that Aurelia can run away with. Aurelia Trundle, Fiora Trundle. These have been the matchups we've seen with these top lane carries. A lot of snowball about it. Some very powerful ganks from Score, but Haru's on the Graves, not a champion that has quite that same pressure. Now he's on Nidalee, a champion that needs to hit a damage jungler, and they got a lot of purchase out of it. But KT have remedied their mistakes. Safe wave clear in mid to allow Someday to go off on the Aurelia.
Yeah, and the big question is, like we said, does CJ have a plan now that they couldn't kind of be tricky in picks and bans and grab that Cassiopeia?
Can they also be assertive in the early game? Because that was the big difference, and that was what got them the victory against KT Rolster.
All right, well, it comes down to this. A third game, an unexpected, but not unlike third game between CJ and KT Rolster. KT still coming into this one with the edge, but maybe the long-awaited return of the top lane legend Shy will be what CJ needs to put them on top. Let's find out. Time to get into Game 3. All right, welcome to Summoner's Rift. We're at Cloud Drake. Of course is first. CJ fans going nuts. KT as well. Wow, I love it. Got a great crowd here today for Game 3 between CJ Entus and KT Rolster, and it is exciting. You know, I've casted Shy's games for 4 years now, through most of his competitive career, except for the very early days. And this guy really did used to be a legend. If you're new to League of Legends, you're new to the Korean scene, you don't know Shy, do yourself a favor and try to hunt down some of those old VODs, because things like his Jax play, his Shen, so good.
With university and school ending for the break, there's a really big crowd out here, and it's a finals-like atmosphere. CJ fans have always been loyal. They love their favorite sons. One of the reasons why Mad Life has always been so popular, and Shy is right up there next to him. We didn't even think he would play, but it really does feel like a final, even though it's just one of these best of threes in the first round robin.
Well, he didn't play in spring, and he didn't play in summer until today, like you mentioned. 200 odd days since he's had a competitive game. Gonna start out with a jungle follow. Looks like we will get standard lanes though.
225 days. It was the final of the Kesper Cup. They lost to ESC Ever. Famously, that was the start of ESC Ever's rise. Feels like a long time ago.
Sure does. I love it. Standard lanes.
Space isn't on the roster. He also played his last game 225 days ago.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Ambition went to another team, of course, on Samsung. You have to wonder if CJ even saw this coming, because of course this is the third game of the series, so I don't know if there was a plan where if they went to a third game in this series he'd come in, but for whatever reason they chose now, finally, to bring back Shy.
Wow, Chani taking some serious punishment from Madlife and Kramer early on.
We always talk about Karma's level 1. Sometimes we gloss over the fact that Bard is very damn oppressive at level 1 as well. Cards are down for Sky.
Yeah, Score coming in for the gank. Lands the cocoon onto Sky. Gonna have to burn that cleanse to get out of it. That's one summoner down. Score might be able to come in a little bit later for another gank.
Really nice timing. He waited till the card was locked in, so there could be no gold card. Blew the cleanse. Very nicely done by Score.
Yep.
And now you just wrap around gank, and one CC lands, and Score is definitely going to pick up a kill on Sky.
Oh, Hachani, he's doing Hachani things, gets exhausted. Can they finish him off? Madlife flashing for the Cosmic Binding onto the minions, but it's not quite enough damage to get the kill. Summoner heal did have to be used. Both summoners from Hachani as well. He walked into a bush, didn't he?
I mean, it did feel like on his part probably it'll be a very safe bush.
I mean, he saw Madlife and Kramer leave lane though. I don't know. I'm no pro. I do know Hachani.
You want this buff to release? It doesn't, and Haru does. Actually, no, it's Madlife takes it away.
Yeah. Gets himself the blue buff. Gonna pick up, not a chime, but like a little ice block thing, I guess, with the skin.
CJ seemed buoyed. The crowd certainly roaring in appreciation of Shy coming in, and the team in general after that hard-fought victory in Game 2.
Shy having a bit of a tough time in lane early on against Someday.
Hey, Shy, would you like to come back? It's against KT. It's just Someday. Don't worry about it.
Only Someday. No biggie.
A big ask for Shy.
Yep. Shy and Sky.
Against
Fly. I know.
Don't even try, Della.
I won't. Oh my. Just rhymed. I'm having an effect. One of us. One of us. And now nothing to say.
I got nothing, Della. Oh. Just taking it all in. This is a really intriguing game. One that I think is set up for KT to ice out the series. I like their drafts so much more than what they did in Game 1. You're not going for Ryze, Fiora, solo lanes, having the safer wave clear of the Sandra. Score blowing the flash early should set up a really torrid laning phase for the Twisted Fate, but I thought I had this series, you know, sussed out in Game 1, and they already surprised me in Game 2, so really waiting to see how the early game goes, because the early game went one way or the other. The crowd appreciates the last hitting from Shy.
He really last hit those minions under turret.
He didn't miss any.
No, I mean, it is hard to do that, at least for me, but I'm a noob, so. But at least Shy having the mechanics anyway. Is he gonna get this one? Oh, he
got it. Nice.
Yeah. Nice suit. Pretty quiet game overall though, and Someday going for that Stinger build, which we do see along with the WMAX on the Aurelia.
Expected to roar into life soon. Twisted Fate is close to 6. Graves got through his safe farming phase, so he's pretty happy. He's going to help Twisted Fate push up the mid lane.
Man, you know once Sky hits 6, the first thing he's going to do is go up the top lane and try to kill off Someday with Shy.
Sandra has teleport. They have a jungle at least. They could be 3v3 fireworks top lane pretty easily.
Yeah, I think we may be heading that direction. Shy pushing up pretty far in lane right now.
This is a cool stat. So lifetime Shy is 8-3 against Someday.
Wow, that's a surprising stat actually. You know, but I suppose it was a different era. But still, I mean, just thinking back to last year, you would have probably said Someday is the better top laner. Certainly said Someday is the better top laner then too. So
worth knowing that CJ were a playoff team in spring season of last year.
That's true, they were.
They narrowly missed playoffs in summer, so it's only 2016 when their struggles really fermented fully.
Yeah, I mean, their playoff series against SK Telecom in spring season of 2015 was extremely close.
I mean, that Bang Lucian game.
Yeah, and some pretty intense heroics by Marin too, up in the top lane for SKT. Was all that got SKT through that one. It's a great match.
Here we
Here
go.
comes Sky. Yep, he's coming in. Someday could be in a little bit of trouble. Gold card loaded up. Can he use it on Fly though after he uses that teleport? This is a 2v2. That's a lot of damage. Uh-oh, goodbye Haru. KT turning this one around already. And Shy, welcome back, man. Someday picking up the kill there.
Carved down by the sharp knives of Aurelia. It seemed like Shy, honestly, didn't know what to do in that scenario. Graves put out some burst. Shy didn't know if he should go forward or back. Actually cheated back towards the fight. Lissandra got the first kill. Toronto couldn't open up any more distance. Died as well. And Snowball has well and truly started in top lane.
I mean, Sky came in really awkwardly on that Twisted Fate too. We'll see that. He had to use a gold card onto Fly, and then that just left a really good 2v2 for KT.
And you were talking about Twisted Fate visiting top. Lissandra with teleport is just as deadly as the TF. So they go super aggressive, but the teleport from Fly is much closer to Someday, and Twisted Fate gets zoned just by the Lissandra. But watch Shy here. He actually moves forward, and that's what really confirms the second kill. Would have had to at least invest a couple of flashes on KT's side to pick up Trundle if he had continued to walk towards turret, but you do worry a little bit with the snowball advantage already towards Someday, and Score's not going to let him go.
Yep. Well, Shy with his first death. Oh, maybe the second death pretty soon here. They're just going to start to pick on him now.
Picking on rookies is something that KT have always done very well, and although he's not a rookie, it's a long time out of the top level for Shy.
He's definitely a bit rusty, we'll say.
CS-wise, doing very well.
Now Score coming in. Shy still, or Sky rather, still has both of his summoners. Shy going for the 1v1. Someday a bit low, taking a lot of minion damage actually.
Oh, if he solo kills him here, or if he had flash, it would have been.
I know, man. He was so close. He could still go for it.
Ninja first means that, when the hit 10 style is down, he actually is very competitive in trades. So if he can kite out the W, can do very well.
True. Both of these top laners have pretty good regen in lane.
Score looking for a turret dive. Walks all the way back, doesn't have teleport to get back into lane, so we'll lose a couple of waves of CS to the turret.
Yeah, actually, here we go. Sivir ultimate use. Arrow trying to escape. Has to flash. Haru gonna help Kramer pick up that one, though.
Actually got the kill with the arrow.
Yeah, he did.
They baited out the spell shield. There was only enough mana to use it right the last time. It was the only skill he could use. Of course, had no mana.
While Haru and Kramer both used their ults at the same time, and the collateral damage from Graves set up a kill for Kramer with that enchanted crystalline arrow.
Don't often see it register a kill. They get it. Karma has some decent wave kills, so they'll at least buy another wave or force CJ into a bad recall time. For now, it looks like CJ aren't concerned with ending lane phase in bot. They're happy to keep that turret up. Just back off.
If you want to see Ashe Arrow get some kills, man, just play full AP Ashe in Earth mode.
That's true.
That's what you do.
It does have a 1 AP ratio, so
if
you somehow find yourself with loads of AP items, I guess you can do some damage.
Play AP Ashe and ARAM. It's hard for them to dodge the arrows in ARAM.
That's fair.
Pretty fun.
Shame about the volley doing no damage.
Yeah, but you're just using the arrows, though. Who cares? It's a low cooldown anyway.
Fair. Twisted Fate builds have definitely been differing. Looks like Rod of Ages won't be the pickup. When we see Twisted Fate this season, it's been almost exclusively Rod of Ages. It's also a great answer to Lissandra because you have that extra health pull to not be burst by the Lissandra combo, but so far it's the Fiendish Codex and a bit of magic resist, so I guess Abyssal Scepter first from Sky.
Oh, not as good at CSing as Shy. Speaking of Shy, little bit behind Someday right now, but keeping up. The big problem is that KT's got really good vision throughout the river there.
Shy knows, though, he can't just enter lane, even though Twisted Fate has Destiny back up, so is the teleport from Fly. They will lose that 2v2 against the Aurelia Lissandra, so for now, just have to hold back. We'll end up losing some CS.
And so if Sky can't do this, what does he do, you know? No teleport.
That's a good question. The moment you have to take Cleanse on TF, you're in kind of a really awkward scenario, as you usually want Ignite if you're Dopa or Apto and want to go for those aggressive ganks, or the teleport for some GBM-esque hijinks. Ghost also a decent choice, but Cleanse, a defensive summoner that doesn't let you get another gold card or get in a bit more damage, really takes down the effectiveness of those early Twisted Fate plays. And then the build, it's not Rod of Ages, so even to safe farming, he's losing out on stats to Fly because Fly is just getting those Rod of Ages stacks every minute.
Yeah. Yeah, one wonders what this Twisted Fate is going to do later on in the game. Oh, Cosmic Binding misses score. Oops.
Interesting.
Mad Life seemed like he had an easy one set up there and didn't connect.
No Drake's taken this game. The Drakes were the big objective that CJ looked to in game 2.
Oh, going in on the W with Sky. Scores right there, but he comes in a little bit late. Lissandra uses the ultimate, forces another cleanse out of Sky. And so that's just more setup later.
Someday maxing hit 10 style, so we saw against Shen he will max Q, but in every other matchup he's been following other players and maxing hit 10 style.
CJ does get the first turret of the game. They're going to jump out to a tiny gold lead.
They had that turret low from before. We're happy to just re-enter laning phase, get safe farm for the Ashe, who's working towards the first item.
Well, CJ finds an opportunity to go for the Dragon, too. It's only a Cloud Drake, but, you know, I'm torn. Because it's a Cloud Drake, but at the same time, it's got the best buff in the game, so I don't know how she feels.
Well, there's an Ocean coming for you next, the Drake of the day.
See, Mad Life needed that Cloud Drake. He would have hit that skill shot. Just needed to be a little bit more accurate. Oh, well.
Back to Shy, last hitting under turret is Trundle.
Yep. Oh.
He didn't get TM out, so he couldn't ruin his last hits.
It's true.
Obviously, just invest in the Ninja Tabi to get through the early laning phase.
Yeah, this must be confusing for Shy. He gets in this game, he's like, what are these different dragons? What's going on here?
He needs to be so careful. Look at the first item purchase from Someday. Right now, it's Trinity Force against Ninja Tabi, so
wow.
He needs to get the hell out of there.
Triple swords.
Aurelia sees this recoil. She just killed it. Oh.
That was very close.
That would have been a dead Trundle.
I think so. Looks like Shy might be thinking about going to bot lane. He's kind of milling around in the base for the moment. Ah, Lissandra, she's back.
We saw in game 1 when it was Untara on the Hecarim versus Trinity Force Aurelia that even with Sunfire completed, no way to stand up to the Aurelia, and I don't think much will change for Trundle. No Sunfire cape, and in general, Aurelia hits Trinity Force, and laning against her is just damn tough. Now will do his best.
Yep. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yep.
Guy's gonna get pretty low here, uses that ultimate. As soon as he does, Someday just backs off. Back in though, as it fades. And Someday low, Shy dropping the pillar. Quite the duel here in the top lane. Someday sustains up a little bit more, gets the stun onto Shy. Now Shy on the run once again. He's got to get out. Yeah, you just can't win that 1v1 against the Aurelia. Here comes Achani. Haru is there too. Maybe Shy can bait this one in, but Someday just regenerating so much. Here we go, yep. Sky trying to make a play. There's a gold card onto Someday. Someday returns with the stun as well. Flashes just on the other side of that pillar. Gold card onto Hachani though, but Arrow there to support. Whoa, it's a lot of damage from the Graves. Oh, wow. Arrow could be in a little bit of trouble. Nope. He'll be able to use that spell shield to stay alive. Shy gets killed off by Someday yet again. Ash Arrow does not hit anybody. Bye.
Really cool skirmishes to track those so close between the two. They were surprised by Arrow rotating to top. Once again, Shy kind of sticks around too long, wants to see what's happening, gets taken out on the backside. So no conclusive victory, but once again advantage KT, and they take the turret as well. Probably does develop into a conclusive victory. So the gold card does come through. Someday thought he might have been able to cancel it with the very close range E, and then we see the fight come through. Hachani's so low, but the summoner heal actually negates the damage from the collateral damage, which would have killed Hachani.
How did he live through that, man?
Spell shield on the picker card means the arrow also lives, and yeah, Shy overstays his welcome. Would have got taken down by Lissandra regardless, but again, small advantage KT in that skirmish.
So, yeah, slowly but surely, KT's starting to pull ahead in this one already.
Yeah, Sunday really starting to take over the game. 30 CS advantage, working on his second item. Shy still struggling for his first.
Yep, seems like when it comes to toe-to-toe contest between these two teams, with all compositions being equal more or less, KT seems to still have the edge, which you'd kind of expect.
These two fought on the Rift many times in 2012, back when Someday was 14, 15. He was playing very, very young. I think he made his debut at 15, so to have tussled for a long time despite Someday's tender age.
Absolutely. Oh. All right. Some parting damage from Kramer. CJ tries to regroup a little bit here. Next Dragon's up in a minute 45 or so.
Someday's walking up through the enemy jungle. He hasn't been spotted by any wards yet. Just gonna back away.
Yeah, Shy just farming down by himself in the bottom lane, just trying to catch up on CS, but he's pretty far behind Someday already. 2-0-1 on that Aurelia versus 0-2-0 on Shy's Trundle.
The effect of this Sunfire build is that if you think about Sunfire, obviously Sunfire and Tiamat are both useful for pushing minions. Tiamat, the more staple choice. The one thing this does mean for Shy is it makes him a team fighting Trundle. He's probably going to go Sunfire into Spirit Visage, basically have magic resist and armor. He will be able to stand in the front line and do his best at fighting. It's just, he won't be the same Trundle that warps games. You know, we think of Trundles with Ravenous Hydra, split pushing inhibitors. That's not what Shy is doing, but that kind of tells the enemy team what Shy wants to do. He desperately wants to team fight, whereas Aurelia, with her lead, has Trinity Force, will build a second damage item, will build some tankiness, and will be able to do both. So it does feel like there's going to be a mismatch there in terms of team fighting only Trundle and Aurelia, who, if she keeps piling on these items, will be able to be flexible between the two.
Yeah. Now, CJ traditionally, especially CJ Frost, was always a great team fighting team. Shy was a big part of that, so I suppose not a big surprise to see him still kind of angling towards the team fighting side of things. But the glory days are done, you know?
The Frost reunion's cool to see, though, between Mad Life and Shy.
Got a feeling, though, this is going to be a pretty slow, methodical game.
Feels like KT have more options than CJ. The teleport Lissandra is feeling like a superior Twisted Fate compared to the actual Twisted Fate. The build from TF really pigeonholes him.
That's the second time this game now that Mad Life has missed basically a point-blank skill shot. And that would have been, you know, almost another guaranteed kill for CJ. That's rough. Ocean Drake is up. KT putting a little bit more pressure onto this mid lane turret.
Pushing in aggressively in top. Once again, forcing the enemy laner to choose between a wave of CS and potentially the Dragon take. Usually these are at the same time, although for now, KT haven't started the Drake. Always worrying when you go for this Twisted Fate, and 20 minutes in, there's been a couple of Destinies, but no kill involvement for the TF.
Yeah, I mean, usually say the first couple Twisted Fate ultimates are the most important ones. Those are the ones that kind of start you off on the right foot, and Sky has not gotten anything done on the TF yet. So, again, you know, we talked about it earlier. What is this TF really going to do in the late game? And the answer looks like probably not a lot.
Especially because going for Sheen second item. Lichbane, of course, one of the true cores of Twisted Fate through metas, but it's not going to be Zhonya's. So what the builds tell me, what the builds basically... Oh, here we go. We're going to see one Destiny.
Now Sky coming in now, gets a gold card on to score. Kramer coming around the side. Looks like they might be able to get this kill on the Elise.
Oh!
Tempered Fate. Can they finish it off? Looks like they can. There's a kill for Kramer. Fly ults himself as KT tries to turn it around, but Shy teleports down, and KT Rolster's gonna have to back away. They get the flash out of Fly with the pillar. Nice pillar from Shy.
Someday cancels his teleport, so will stay in lane. The moment the kills came through, he realized he couldn't make an impact. Wants to split push down this inner turret. CJ need to be decisive, need to get objectives, otherwise they're going to lose an inner turret for free.
I'm surprised they didn't turn around onto that dragon a little bit quicker, even though it is just an ocean drake. It's something, you know?
They want to answer turret for turret or get a turret advantage. And it looks like they will still get the Drake, so it is a Drake and a kill for no true gain from KT. They only managed to chunk out the inner turret top lane.
Yep.
It was a really nice Bard ultimate from Mad Life. Doesn't necessarily make up for missing the Cosmic Bindings. We're going to see the replay. To CJ, they look for another of these Destiny picks. The reason why the Bard ultimate is genius is by the time Score gets out, there's only one place for him to flash to, and he gets both Score and Fly. They can't pick up 2 kills on the outside. Actually, it is an early ultimate from the Graves, so it doesn't register the damage of the collateral damage, but
sure.
They get the kill. They don't give up a turret. Could have been better, could have been cleaner, but it's not bad for CJ.
Wow, Someday doing a lot of damage to Sky. He's going to go in on this one. Has to back off, though. Transcendent Blade's not quite enough to finish him off. Maybe if he would have gotten a shield from the Karma, but better to just take the turret if you can.
Want to see KT really want to finish this outer turret.
Yep. I'll give them the lead in turrets if KT's able to do it.
And more importantly than that, the deeper you can get vision against a Twisted Fate, the safer you are against Destiny. So taking Twisted Fate's outer mid lane turret has always been one of the most important breaking points for the TF's relevance in terms of that Destiny.
It's very true.
It's interesting to see TF go for Lichbane when his Trundle goes for a purely a laning build or a teamfight build. So maybe TF will split push, but you have to think that TF can't enter lane against either Lissandra or Aurelia. So it's Lichbane is very important, but it feels like almost Zonia's to go along with Trundle building full tank might have been behooved for Sky.
Yeah. Someday with the Wit's End, that's an item we don't see a whole lot anymore these days, but it makes sense, you know, against the Twisted Fate.
So a big buff this patch, 2,500 gold instead of 2,800, so 300 gold cheaper. Also has a lot of synergy with Lissandra because you're burning the enemy's magic resist, and then Lissandra, we're doing close to true damage to anyone that doesn't have a nice stack of magic resist, and will shred some of the magic resist that's been heavily purchased by CJ.
Lissandra, jeez. Oh, Mad Life. No magical journey for you. Or maybe not. Spoke too soon.
Exhaust gave him back his life.
Yes, so.
Now no exhaust for Aurelia in a team fight, though, is awkward.
Yeah, it makes it tough. Mad Life getting caught there is not exactly what CJ wanted to have happen.
Saw Cuvée, I believe it was, build this Wit's End, then sell it late game for a Blade the Ruined King, which is always an option. It's going to be 2 damage items for most Aurelias into full tank. Yeah, the synergy when they have Elise, when they have Karma that does a lot of AP damage, even from the support role, is pretty good with that Wit's End.
True.
I feel like CJ's kind of in a bind. Trundle can't split push against the Aurelia. Has gone for this tank build. Twisted Fate can never enter lane against an Aurelia. She'll just look at him and kill him. And the Lissandra's so far ahead that it doesn't work there either. So how CJ set up to make a proactive play, I don't really know. And it was their proactive plays in Game 2 that actually got them a foothold in this series.
Well, the other thing, too, is you've got so much engaged from KT. You know, how in the world do you keep Kramer alive in a team fight?
You probably don't.
Yep. Probably not. Same with Sky as well. I mean, Twisted Fate does his burst of damage, and then you kind of have to run away.
They have a Graves for some team fight damage in the late game, but I take your point. Twisted Fate especially isn't known for his late game team fight unless he's very ahead. However, with the Seeker's Arm Guard, is working towards some playmaking with the Zonias. CJ's comp kind of hits its power spike when that Zonias comes in, and then will get outscaled by KT maybe 5-10 minutes later. So there's a very narrow window to see CJ.
Whoa, going in onto Sky, just bypassing the turret altogether. The slow with the Cosmic Binding is not enough. Tempered Fate comes in from Mad Life to try to slow down KT. They'll just take that mid lane turret and casually walk away.
They only have to blow the Sivir ultimate on a low cooldown. They use the teleport from Fly, but no more. CJ's pushing up mid.
Yeah, that may be a bit dangerous. Fly thinking about going in, and that threat is enough just to push CJ away. Someday has teleport, so he can come up whenever he wants to. Shy actually just used his. So now a big TP advantage for KT Rolster.
And Twisted Fate isn't in range of the Destiny, of course, has Cleanse, doesn't have teleport himself, so they will lose this bot lane outer turret for free.
Yeah. Looks like Sky is finally going for that Seeker's Arm Guard, so he'll be able to build into the Zonias.
When that item is complete, if CJ can't win a team fight with that item completion, I think their chances in this game are basically null and void.
Yeah. Almost certainly. Alright, we got Shy. A lot of trouble. Good pillar, though. And just run his way out of that one. But meanwhile, Score and Fly find the kill onto Haru. Hey, Sky once again just pushed right out of lane.
And Kramer was top, just pushing his Ashe, hoping that there was going to be no pressure from KT and allow them to finally get this outer top lane turret, but KT continue their proactive ways. It's back to game one, KT. The role swap has come back for a third time, and it's KT in full control.
Yep, looking pretty easy. Sky might come in on the Score. Nice cocoon, man.
Oh.
That good Ashe arrow, though. Flying Score, turning it around now as the teleport comes in for Someday. He's going to take the magical journey, follow after Sky. Mad Life there with the Cosmic Binding. That's going to force Someday to flash out. And KT on the run. Tempered Fate does catch Someday. A lot of low health members of KT. Sky coming in. There's a kill for Mad Life, actually. They managed to take out the Aurelia. And that was a bit awkward. KT comes out on the losing end.
Haru's still in base, but Baron will be a massive objective. Because Shy has gone for this build, he can tank the Baron forever. So there is Baron threat, but doing it against this Sivir can be very risky. Worth noting that Lissandra has ult, but has no health, so can't really contest. But CJ have to back away from Baron.
Deciding to play it safe. They could go and pick up another Ocean Drake if they wanted to. They have both of the Drakes already this game.
Couple of Infernals would have been so different from the side of CJ, would have given them the damage boost, a little bit of extra oomph that they need to take it to the next level. If you're not going to snowball, you kind of need something like an Infernal Drake for CJ's comp to be able to be competitive in late game team fighting.
Yeah, I suppose a fight like that, though, kind of shows you that CJ is still in this one. As tough as it's looking right now, they've still got a chance.
Will just be a Drake, so Elder Drake's certainly going to be powered up when we do eventually see it. 3 stacks already. Last Drake will be a third Ocean.
All right.
Going full Ocean today. It's Ocean Week, Doa.
Ocean Clouds. Whoa. Flash from Mad Life tried to land that Cosmic Binding, but Score was able to get the repel off just in time.
Respect flash from Kramer. He saw the claw coming through from Lissandra, didn't know if it would complete, so had to flash away.
Yep.
Summoner spells on Kramer and Sky are so important, so flash being down on the Ashe.
Oh, hi. Look out. Here comes KT.
Ashe arrow.
Yeah. But no follow-up, and that's a big problem for CJ. They're going to lose this turret, maybe a bit more. Tempered Fate slows him down a little bit, though. Score kind of low. Haru throws in the collateral damage. That's a lot of damage on the KT. And Shy walking up. Someday going to try to go in. Gets killed off, and CJ might be able to actually turn this one around. Here comes Sky rather now on that Twisted Fate. Going to help Mad Life pick up another one, and CJ finding wins in this team fight. Score's so low, but it looks like they're not going to be able to chase him down.
It must be Baron time. Score is still alive. Same level as Graves.
Oh boy.
He's trying to stain up as much as possible. They have vision of this.
Wow, Fly comes in onto Haru trying to get the damage done, but he can't get the kill. Baron doing a lot. CJ sticking with it. Score's still there.
Score needs to make the hero play.
He doesn't have flash, though, so it's going to be tough for him to come in and steal this. There's Repel forced out, though, and that Baron will go over to CJ. They don't lose anyone. They get Baron buff on the entire team, and KT loses 3 people.
KT overstayed poking around this inner turret. They thought they were safe, but they take so much free damage. Score is already out of this fight. They're backing away. They don't have Ocean Drakes. They don't have regen. Someday caught by an excellent pillar from the Trundle means that he dies, and when that frontline Aurelia that's both tanky and a threat is gone, CJ have to just go in every direction. So nice cleanup from CJ. KT, nothing they could do. The Baron buff is massive, and wow, CJ Entus in control of this game out of nowhere.
Yeah, they've really turned it around, and Been able to find a few good team fights. They're going to be rewarded by the Baron, by the mid lane tier 1 turret, and maybe a bit more. So surprising to see them come back with the rough start that Sky had. Someday in trouble again. There's the Tempered Fate. Ash Arrow beautifully chained in by Kramer. That's going to be yet another kill for CJ, maybe? Someday. How did he live? And this is a little bit scary
CJ's
now.
in bad territory now.
Well, Madlife gets a kill anyway. Kramer, though, not going to survive this one. Score turning it around onto Sky. Throws out the gold card. He's not going to live, and suddenly CJ getting this fight turned around on top of him. Fly, though, after the Zonias. Will run out. His life will run out, too. Haru very low.
Shy's
what
fighting!
A brawl, and Shy picks up the double kill. CJ turns that fight around again. This has just been a huge mess, but CJ is managing to come out on top.
It's a huge mess, but it's crazy. A hot mess, though, as CJ over-pursued like crazy. They thought they had the kill on Someday. He lived. They went for an ill-advised turret dive, but with the death time is this long, this should be an inhibitor for CJ Entus.
Yeah, it really will. Absolutely insane. CJ jumping out to what will be about an 8,000 gold lead. About 6,000 or so.
Yeah. This would be a famous victory. Not that it's going to be a hugely consequential one. CJ will still be right down the bottom of the places. KT will still be in the midst of playoffs. But what does it mean for the CJ organization to win a series like this that was so one-sided in game one? We're going to watch the replay as Someday basically condemned to death. As you mentioned, Kramer was so good at working out. He knew exactly the 2.5 seconds, but Someday lives. And this is where CJ is getting super crazy. They're walking under 2 turrets. They don't have any damage on this inner turret at all. And even though they take out Someday, they take a lot of free damage. Kramer dies because he doesn't have flash available. Sky can buy a bit of time. But even though Shy's a low damage target, he only has Tiamat at this point. The health bars get long enough. The rest of his team keeps fighting. You mentioned it. CJ were famous for mid to late game team fighting. And we've got to the mid to late game team fighting phase.
I gotta say, Shy has played these fights really well on this Trundle too, man. I mean, his pillars have been spectacular. Madlife not quite hitting. Oh, there we go. He hits a Johnny at least anyway. With the arrow, Kramer gets that one. Oh, KT turning it right around though. There goes Madlife. Someday picking up a kill, and KT really needed that one. Oh, the brawl. Shy going deep now. Kramer coming from the side. KT's gonna try to turn on him, but this Ashe is doing so much damage, and CJ gonna pick up another team fight win, a double kill for Kramer. Here comes Sky now with that Twisted Fate gold card onto Fly. Gonna get one by himself, maybe. The shield from Karma keeps him alive for the moment. Meanwhile, Kramer picks up a kill onto Score. Uh-oh, Shy gotta be careful with that turret damage. But CJ, again, like, this is such a brawl of a match. But somehow, what else can you say? Shy's legendary presence is enough for these team fights to just go ever so slightly into CJ's favor.
And how Kramer lived and didn't have to use his flash or his heal. He kept putting out damage. Shy was a meat shield in front of him.
Yeah.
And Kramer's positioning really carried them through that fight as they now break the base in a second spot, take a second inhibitor, and move closer to an unlikely series victory.
I'm stunned a bit because KT really came into this game with kind of everything going for them. And then it felt like they just got a little bit overeager with some of the turret pressure, and CJ just so good this game at making them pay for that.
We expected KT's eventual loss to be because of a weird drafting phase. You can say that that Game 2 wasn't clean. Game 3, I think the draft here is very strong from KT Rolster. But it wasn't, there's no Protect the Draven going on. There's no real curveball from the side of KT. It's just CJ that honestly have been the ones to really impress.
Yeah. It's like a never give up attitude is got CJ back in this game and might give them a series win, and that's the 3rd Ocean Drake now for them too. So that's going to be a lot of out of combat pressure, we'll say, as they can fight a bit and then back away.
I wonder who the MVP will be if CJ wins.
Yeah, no kidding, yeah. Who might they give it to? Shy had a really rough start to this game too. Getting ganked, getting kind of dominated in lane by Someday.
Don't forget how to late game team fight, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, he's always been great at it. This organization is, like we talked about a lot, he's kind of made a name for themselves over the years. on that.
Now, the minion waves aren't in great spots. Twisted Fate's pushing up mid, but the slow push from top lane is going to take time. A couple more minion waves time before we do actually see the macro pressure really start to hurt KT Rolster.
Yeah. Baron buff gone now. Let's run out. But with 2 inhibitors down, KT's still kind of fighting for their lives here.
Trundle just putting down the pillars to try to zone for auto attacks or even just a Lich Bane proc from the Twisted Fate, but for now, full health outer turret, or inhibitor turret for KT Rolster.
That's right. Can CJ grab this last inhibitor?
Still not willing to walk up. The wave is so strong from KT
Ash
Rolster.
arrow onto Hachani. They're going to engage here. Hachani getting blown up.
Oh.
Barely lives, though. Sky tries to flash for the kill, but the shield just a bit too much. That was the attempt right there. And will they have to back off now with the Ash ultimate down? 3 ultimates used.
Let's see how much CJ wanted. Shy flashed as Tiamat Trundle to get the last hit, just because with 2 super minion waves coming in and only 4 members, that might have been enough pressure for CJ to actually take the 3rd inhibitor, maybe even take a Nexus turret and really get close to ending the game. Instead, though, flashes down from Trundle, not the biggest deal.
This is a big opportunity for KT, though, to get some vision back on their side of the map, to get themselves set up for maybe contesting this Baron. So that was a big moment. CJ committing basically everything and not being able to finish off the support really puts them in kind of an awkward spot here.
Their shopping times can be so much delayed with triple Ocean Drake, means that every time they kite away, they're regenning up very comfortably, our CJ Entus.
Yeah. Very true.
Someday and Fly both have teleports. There are answers for Trundle in the bot lane.
You know, power-wise, KT is not really too far behind CJ, or really not very far behind at all. It's really that macro pressure like you talked about, having those 2 inhibitors down, or just 1 down now actually for KT.
See, Someday will still do very well in trades with Shy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem for KT.
CJ played around the Baron so well in game 2. They're going for 1 here. It's a nice assertive call.
Yep, Score knows what's up. He gets the ward down anyway, just to confirm. KT coming in. Tempered Fate used. Score looking for that steal. CJ backing away. Baron so low. And actually the Baron stolen by KT Rolster. Now they're going for the fight. Sky low right off the bat. Got that gold card loaded up, but nowhere to throw it. Score's going to take a magical journey. Gets exhausted immediately on the other side, though. KT should be happy with just that Baron. They might be able to find the kill on this Shy. He's got no flash. That Trundle is tanky. He uses the ult onto Aurelia, but in a 1v5, even the Trundle not going to survive that one. And now KT can just back away. Sky threatening with the ult, but he's just a bit too far to make it work with that Twisted Fate. Far away.
Madlife didn't wait for the repel cooldown, so you'll see here, he was the one that needed to stop the Elise, but it got repelled, had a target to go into, and CJ couldn't kill Score because any damage would be AoE would go onto the Baron, so the Baron buff got into contest range, even though he was a level behind his opponent. Haru misses the smite. Well confirmed from Score, though. Get the exit kill onto the Trundle as well. That was risky from CJ Entus. They made game 2 on a Baron take, and unfortunately they may have condemned themselves in game 3 with another Baron take.
CJ's going to need another couple miracle fights here. I think they want to win this one now. Both inhibitors back up for KT Rolster. And that Elder Drake coming up in about a minute. That will be probably the final battleground here.
There's a lot of things that right now, this second, are working against CJ. The Baron buff is obvious, but both inhibitors have respawned, so they can't set up super minion wave pushes in top or mid to allow them time to get the Elder Drake, and opting into a Baron fight against this KT Rolster lineup, sorry, an Elder Drake fight against the Baron to up KT Rolster lineup. I don't know if CJ really have the tools to do it. They've surprised me in a few fights in a row, so maybe they'll feel frisky about it, but it's certainly risky.
Yeah. All right, Someday caught by the Tempered Fate. Score's going to use that ultimate on the Sivir right away, or their arrow will.
2 big ults down, 1 on each side.
Someday thinking about going in, decides not to. But talk about Score and his objective stealing this series. He took the Infernal Drake away in game number 1, and now getting the Baron in game number 3. Really making some clutch plays today.
CJ thought they had thought that fully through. They thought the Bard will be the answer, but the repel excellently timed by Score. So much credit to him there.
KT just keeping that Baron pressure on the mid lane, trying to set up for a Elder Dragon maybe. They're moving over there now. That Elder Dragon is so much harder to take down than the other ones though.
And it's a really intriguing objective because it doesn't give KT much, but it denies so much away from CJ.
Yeah, that's the value.
Minion waves really an excellent spot for KT, so the percentage play here is to answer them. You can see Sky without teleport is going to walk top, won't be able to ult down, so will be free Elder Drake if KT value it.
Yep. Well, I'm glad this series has turned out to be a bit more exciting as you see KT going for the Elder Drake. Looked like it was going to be a pretty fast 2-0, but this is a tense game 3 now. Here comes CJ. They drop the Tempered Fate onto the Elder Drake and a couple members of KT. Sky setting things up. Now with that Twisted Fate ultimate. Looking for an angle to come in. Can't quite find it. Elder Drake pretty low, but he's going to start regenning health now. KT going to re-engage.
Shy's considering coming back with the teleport.
Yep.
Now he has to answer the minion wave. Look at that massive minion wave in bot lane.
I guess so, and they may have to give this Elder Drake over then to KT. I think they probably will. Oh, collateral damage attempt, but no, the Elder Drake goes to KT Rolster. Mad Life, oh, gets caught mid-magical journey, and everybody chasing. Goodbye, Bard. Oh dear.
The Elder Drake is not a massive buff to KT. It gives true damage, but they have no Drake stacks, so in general, it was something that CJ could surrender. I thought they had done that when they pulled Shy back to clear waves, but Mad Life got too cute, was too far up, dies to fly, and that's going to be so much more. Buff stolen away, wards pushed up, double teleport's going to have plenty of great spots to come in from a KT Rolster perspective, and it's still over 20 seconds on Bard.
Yeah. 2-2 turret under threat. They're going to be able to take that out. So KT fighting back. And this game is, practically even at this point, strength-wise between these two teams. I mean, obviously CJ has the little bit of an edge with the vulnerable inhibitors in the KT base, but when these two teams collide, I kind of feel like I should give the edge to KT still at this point.
I think that's fair. I think I'd take them in a late-game team fight. You kind of have to sit back and wonder at this point how it got there, because CJ had 2 inhibitors down. They should have been in a position with that much map pressure to force a free Baron. Instead, they didn't set up Baron as cleanly as they did at 20 minutes in Game 2 that really got them back into the series.
Yeah.
They opted into what could have been a 50-50 steal. It was still weighted towards Haru. He was a higher level. There was a lot of skill shots for Score to navigate, but Score stealing that Baron has undone a lot of the great work by CJ Entus in the mid-game.
Well, it is kind of crazy to see, but at the same time, I feel like what we were talking about quite a bit earlier is kind of coming true now, where this Twisted Fate is just not able to really do a whole lot in team fights. And it's past the point in the game where ganking opportunities really are a big thing, and KT probably smart enough not to open up Arrow or Hachani to any pick attempts.
It's full build from Twisted Fate, just finished the death cap. Close to full build across the board.
Yeah.
In this game. Double Thorn Mail on the side of KT Rolster, super intriguing.
Probably pretty good versus the Ashe, huh?
You run at Ashe, she can't kill you because you're so tanky, and although Trundle will profit and steal a lot of stacks and be unkillable himself, the difference is that Titanic Hydra Trundle can't run at Sivir and kill her, whereas Thornmail Irelia can.
Oh yeah.
There's kill pressure from Someday, and just not that same kill pressure from Shy.
So both teams kind of regrouping now. Baron up in about 20 seconds, and that's where we're going to see our next fight.
Sky shadowing Kramer, looking to see if they can pick off Irelia if she looks to kill a straggler. Shy has his own Guardian Angel. Extra don't want to kill this Trundle.
Yeah. Settle down, Trundle, jeez.
He's excited.
I guess.
He's been on the sidelines a while.
It's not an angry, though. I mean, I would be too, getting the game that close. 2 inhibitors down and not able to close.
Opposite of what CJ Entus is famous for, coming back from inhibitors being down.
Yeah.
It's a really tense affair here. Item builds, I think, from KT, though, should carry them in a team fight outside of some of the picks that CJ, honestly, have been really good at putting together. They got back in the mid game from good layering of CC from Kramer and Madlife especially, correcting some of their mistakes in the early game.
This reminds me a bit of MVP's game against KT, where they came so close, couldn't quite finish it off. Score getting a little bit caught, though. The threat from Fly to come in is a bit too much for CJ.
Super ult's down, but obviously not a long cooldown.
Yep. KT, though, certainly under some pressure. The Baron is up. Now the dance begins.
Shy will just trundle his way to bot lane. I think you have to remember with this Trundle, especially with no home guard buff, certainly no real threat of a flanking Trundle play. He wants to be there early, so he needs to teleport with his team and group faster than the enemy. If you're just down bot lane, if you try to reactionarily teleport as Trundle, that 3.5-second channel timer in the late game where one kill could decide the game is super long, and then he just kind of wants to kite back, put down a pillar, so even though he's threatening the map for now, it's not the biggest threat towards KT Rolster.
Well, KT, right after the check from Kramer goes through, they're going to start that Baron. CJ engaging, here's the teleport. Coming in from behind, Shy trying to flank here.
5,000 health on the Baron.
Yep, it's getting lower. And Haru looking for that steal, gets Cocoon for the moment. Tempered Fate slows it down. Ash Arrow onto Hachani. Baron's so low, but KT has to back away. And this is the moment CJ was waiting for. They're going to engage. Someday a little bit low. Good cosmic binding from Madlife. Fly forced to use that zone use early. The re-engage comes in though, and Shy has to flash away. KT still dancing. The Baron back to full health now.
Armor values are super low on CJ. Every ricochet that crits wrecks their backline.
Yep. All right, they're going to go after Haru. Maybe not, though.
Look at that pillar.
Very low. Yeah, great pillar from Shy. And that nearly sets up a kill. Here comes the teleport for KT, though. Somebody coming back in again. And he's going to be hard to kill with that GA.
Things are so tense. Flash is available. No flash on Kramer. No flash on Someday. Are the only important flash down. Madlife also.
Ooh, arrow. That was a little bit scary for KT. Comes so close. Shy gonna walk into the brush. He had a ward there. He's tanky. Gonna turn around. Uses the ult. With that ult down, that Trundle won't be quite as hard to kill anymore.
Look at the mini map. There's a massive minion wave from KT that will take down this inhibitor turret if no one answers it. But yeah. CJ also have a minion wave of their own in the bot lane.
Yeah, and they also have a big minion wave coming with them in mid lane to go after this vulnerable inhibitor.
I don't think they're confident enough to walk up and try to kill this inhibitor, though. So
doesn't look like it.
Much shorter path for Lissandra to clear out that wave than they have to clear out their own wave. Long way for Shy to go back. He doesn't have teleport now. Only teleport available of any player is, of course, the Destiny from Twisted Fate and the Summoner spell teleport from Fly.
Wow, what a game.
What a series.
No kidding. It's been a good one. It's really delivered a lot more than I think we expected.
I mean, bringing back Shy brings back a lot of these old emotions. These are two of the oldest orgs in Korean League of Legends. They've been around since the start, and it's good to see still a competitive series after so much change in 2016.
KT's setting up now for their attempt on the Baron. Fly has his teleport, so it's okay for him to be in the bot lane at the moment.
Minion waves have now been answered, so...
They saw CJ go into that rush. They had a ward right underneath it, so maybe they can do something with this. Both teams, yeah, pretty aware of where each other are at right now.
Madlife tries to clear out the ward in the back of the pit, but too risky for him to do so.
Yep.
Game is so tense. Reminds me of the Longzhu Samsung series that we saw a Baron dance for ages and ages at the end.
Shy just hanging out.
He's pretty tanky.
Oh yeah. Here comes Someday. It's so hard to decide to engage here. I mean, the next fight's gonna probably decide the game.
It's so hard for CJ to engage with double summoners down on both their bot lanes. Specifically, Ash is so killable.
We go gold card onto Shy. He's gonna have to, or Sky rather, he's gonna have to zone just to stay alive. Fly ults himself. Big Tempered Fate comes through from CJ. They can't quite get a kill out of it. Score very low, but he does have the GA. Fly goes in for some more damage. Gets blown up. Gets very low, but there's a kill for Someday. Shy coming back. with that GA. Score goes in. They're going to try to finish off Mad Life, and they will get him. KT picking up the kills here. They've got 3, and it looks like this is going to be probably the end of the game as Kramer backs away, trying to live. Score low. He really can't 1v1 this Ashe. I guess he's got the GA, but KT a little bit too low to go after the Baron, at least for now.
Kramer's just trying to buy time. He's going to be spotted out. We'll call it here.
Yeah, it's pretty bad for Kramer. He's not going to survive this one. And now KT in position to end this game. Yep, everybody just walking down the mid lane, and it looks like that will be about it. They don't need the Baron. They can just finish it off right here. So a great effort from CJ. But in the end, KT just a bit too strong in that team fight. I mean, again, you go back to that Twisted Fate pick, and in that last fight, Sky just really did pretty much nothing.
They made it work, though, Joe. They made it work at 3 items.
They tried.
They just kind of let it all go after they had 2 inhibitors down with the play around Baron. That's what really cost them. They didn't play around Baron appropriately. Score stole it away and stole away a victory from CJ Entus.
Absolutely. A close series in the end. Mad Life going to be annoying with that Tempered Fate. Here comes Sky, but they cannot save the Nexus as much as they try. And KT will take this series in a close 2-1 victory.
What a great series. It didn't look like it was going to be one. We thought KT would take it confidently, but Game 2, CJ outthought them. And in Game 3, for large swaths of the game, they outthought them as well. But they made that crucial mistake around Baron. Hero steal by Score that honestly, that one play should win him the MVP. And from there, they had no armor. They weren't able to itemize it. I touched on the double Thorn Mails on the side of KT. CJ couldn't find item slots for armor. And those ricochets in the final fights, whenever they were grouped, were completely wrecking CJ Entus.
Yeah. And Shy, I mean, he had a pretty rough early game, but I gotta say, in the team fights later on, he looked really good on that Trundle. So one wonders if we might see a little bit more Shy going forward here. I don't think we will, but I guess it's a possibility.
I mean, I asked for Ingest after their last defeat. I'm like, they need something different. Bring in a new top laner, bring in Shy, and I didn't think it would happen. And CJ had this plan for the final game. We're going to look over the damage dealt. It's no surprise that Sivir was able to carve out the low armor members. Graves had no armor. Trundle obviously had armor items, but that was about the only armor on the side of CJ. A Zhonya's accepted for Twisted Fate. Sivir carried the fights, Aurelia did the damage. Kramer had no flash when that last fight was initiated. There was food even though he was able to live for a long time.
Yep. A little bit scary for KT Rolster there. They do regain, I should say, the second place in the standings right now, but definitely some things to think about as they move into their next match. Still though, that's 4 match wins in a row now for KT.
That unblemished run is over. The 1 game loss in the middle here means they don't have the same run, and they did have some exploitable weaknesses in this series, so we'll see if other teams can start to learn from some of those in KT's playbook, but they do pick up the important victory in the end.
Yep, that's right. So we'll see who our Game 2, or Game 3 rather, MVP is. It's Arrow on that Sivir. All right, whatever. I mean, it's hard to call it an MVP, I think, for that one, but what do you think?
I would have given it to Score. I think he deserved it for the steal, but Arrow put out a lot of damage. I mean, the score line isn't impressive, but it was just the effectiveness of the Sivir pick. With such low tankiness on the side, it really carved out damage in the late game. See some of the earlier points in the game. This is around the time that CJ really tried to turn it around.
Well, Arrow showing up pretty unexpectedly here.
I've made the big roam to top. You can see it wasn't expected on the side, or mirrored on the side of CJ, as both Ashe and the Bard were in the bot lane, so no way for them to have the same numbers. Meant that KT picked up a few kills.
Yep, or Mad Life. Not so magical journey for him. And now I believe this was the last fight of the game.
Kramer doesn't have flash in this fight. It's about half off cooldown. Just watch Sivir and the ricochets in particular. For now, just hitting the front line, but the moment the ricochets come through as they walk down the choke, that's when this teamfight goes bad. You're going to see the damage bouncing in the back line, no mitigation for it. Twisted Fate dies just to a ricochet. Haru and Kramer chunked out. Kramer was able to walk away and buy time, but too little, too late. CJ came so close, but no victory for them.
That's right, so it's time for our MVP interview. Get down there, Cloud Templar. Joel will be doing some translating for us.
Hey, thank you very much, guys. We're here for the interview. KT gets a victory over CJ in a 2-1 victory, and we are here with the interview with Arrow and Score for the interview. Let's have an interview with them. Score Arrow, congratulations on your win. Give us a comment on the win. First one, it felt like we just died and came back alive, and it was kind of that feeling. And it was a much tougher game than we expected, but CJ played really well, and we played better today, and we are fortunate to get the win today. Arrow, it seems like it's been a long time since you got the MVP. How do you feel? I didn't think I was a candidate for the MVP. I want to thank you for giving it to me today. One of the biggest upset, one of the biggest news of this game, of this series, was Shy coming into the game in Game 3, and he is one of those players that everybody respects and has a lot of experience. What are some of your comments on that? First of all, I think someone with that much experience, someone who knows the game, knows the competition. It was really nice to see him again. And I don't know if CJ really pulled out the hidden card on us. When CJ made that substitution, did you think that their overall team play improved? We didn't really try to focus too much on that. We just try to play our game. Yes, I just worry about just doing my plays and just doing well all myself, and that's what I did today. Score, you received an MVP playing the Nidalee, and you saw that Haru in Game 2 playing a very good Nidalee. You make a lot of picks with usually Elise, but which do you like better, Nidalee or Elise? I don't know about other players, but I think Nidalee is a little bit better than the Elise right now. And I think it's just a matter of the player that plays it. It's a skill cap champion, and it all matters on the player that plays it. The current ADC meta right now is something that doesn't have many surprises. What are some of the picks that you like to practice with? I try to have a lot of variety, picking a lot of champions, different variety of champions when I'm practicing ADC. Something like Draven and some of those picks that other players usually don't pick.
Of course, Arrow.
And trying to improve on the diversity and the wide variety I can pick from. We're expecting. Let's look at a highlight from the game and let's talk about it further. The game when you got those little picks one by one, and those were really good advantages getting into the late game. And do you kind of think of these plays ahead of time, or is it something that's instinctual? Usually, I don't think about it that much. It just happens for me. Did you have a team strategy going in picking the Nidalee, or was it just a pick that you made right away? We do have to think about team compositions, but I just tried to pick the strongest champion out there, and I think Nidalee was the one that was open. And I was in the position to pick it, and I think it was a good decision in the end. And within KT's so-called algorithm, we see a lot of unique team compositions from you. And when you picked Elise in Game 2, we were expecting a really good game, as we've seen before. But it's something. What are some of your comments on the team composition you guys had? I really agree with that. As long as Score does well in his games, our team does well overall. And I think he's one of those guys that really carries the entire team and gives us a really sure victory when he does well. And and oppositely, if he does bad, it's tough for us to win a game. Usually, teammates kind of joke around, making fun of each other, dissing each other, but not in this case. The last game, it was just full of unexpected events, not really knowing which way it was going to go. And in what moment did you think that you guys really had the win? I think the most crucial moment in the game, even though there was a lot of mistakes during the game, I think there was a miscommunication within that team at one point in the game. And they were kind of separated, not really all together, and that was a chance for us to pick out certain champions, and I think that was a very crucial moment in the game where we got a very good advantage to actually win the game. We're surprised that you remember the details of that so much. Let's look at the highlights from that. Were you trying to aim out a certain champion when you picked it? No, I was trying to just pick, hit out any champion that was there, and unfortunately it turned out to be a good play. And we saw that the opposition team was all collapsed together, and we thought it was a good chance for us to engage on them, and I think that turned out to be a good result. You've earned a 4 consecutive victory with today's win, and the next game is against Jin Air. And Jin Air has been a mixed team, but we've always seen good form from them. And what are some of your comments going into the game? We had an unexpectedly hard game to finish today, and we always want to try hard and try to build on the momentum that we have and just keep going on with this win streak and try to do our best to get a good result at the end of the season. When Arrow, you have a game coming up against Rocks in the near future, and going up against Prey is one of the questions that we have. What are some of the things you have? We always go into a game thinking that we're gonna win a game, and I think that mindset of trying to think that we're gonna win a game, it really does help us, and I think that's what we're gonna continue to do. Next game is Rocks versus Africa. So you're saying Rocks is facing Africa, right? For Rocks, I personally hope that Africa gets the win over Rocks today. And I personally rate Africa as a very strong team with a lot of potentials. But if we said something about us losing, then it would have been an upset, and I would like to see an upset between Rocks and Africa and see Africa win the game. I'm not trying to diss on Rocks, but I'm just hoping to see an upset. I think that'll be fun. I think that was a very confusing interview that we had with Arrow. And we just concluded the interview with Arrow and Score for the MVP interview, and back over to you guys.
All right, thanks for the translating, Joel. And hey, Papa Smithy, I think I know why Arrow thinks it would be fun if the Rocks Tigers lose to Africa, because that would mean that the Rocks Tigers would not take second place away from them, or knock them down to third rather, as they would take first.
Because they now move to 6-2, right next to SK Telecom and Rocks Tigers, who play to potentially go into 7-2, and at least until SK Telecom play, be top of the league.
That's right. A 2-1 victory for KT Rolster ended up being a really close series, really a fun one to watch as well. If you're just tuning in now, definitely go back and watch that VOD. And as we mentioned, that's going to put KT Rolster in second place, just 2 points behind SK Telecom game score-wise, tied match score-wise. So we've got a really interesting sort of end of this first round here, where we have 3 6-2 teams, 1 6-3 with Samsung, but they have a chance to, of course, compete for maybe that number 2 spot if KT and Rox lose another match.
That was CJ Entus' last game of the first round robin.
Right.
1-8, -12, but they didn't play like that, Doa. They played very well today in spite of the game score. But guys, join us after just a short break, because we've got another match still tonight. Rox Tigers looking to go number 1 against Afrika Freaks.
Yeah, and they've got a good chance to do that too. On the other hand, Afrika looked very good against SK Telecom, but it remains to be seen if that was more SK Telecom being bad or Afrika just being really good. It's going to be an interesting best of 3.
Mickey versus Kuro will be an interesting one, because it will be Kuro starting for Afrika.
That's right. So don't go anywhere, guys. That'll be back in about 15 minutes or so, right here on the same stream, LCK Summer on OGN. We'll return with the Rox Tigers versus the Afrika Freaks right after this. So don't go anywhere.